And we're back with another podcast. Next up, we have my buddy Retro. He's Retro and Remastered on TikTok. He has been covering a bunch of stuff when it comes to fight sticks and a lot of SNK type of fighting game stuff. I've really liked what he's done so far, and we had a great conversation talking about a bunch of different stuff, so hope you enjoy. Retro, welcome. Thank you for coming on the podcast, man. I appreciate this.
Yeah, it's no problem. Thank you for inviting me.
I'm going to start by I know you've said it before, but you got into TikTok making fight stick videos. How long have you been like messing around with fight sticks, hitboxes, arcades, etc.? Give us your fighting game like history.
Um, in general, like not like a ton. Like I've always had like fight sticks in some way, and I've kind of tinkered with them on and off as I've had them. Um, Really, what it just kind of came down a lot to was just trying to make something like your own. Like I know I've had like friends tell me that the way I look at like a fight stick and the way I'm always looking up parts for it is similar to like people who work on their cars. Like nothing is ever like good enough because I want to just tweak it and make it just, right for me.
Mm-hmm.
I still haven't really gotten to that point in it, but I've always kind of played in arcades when I was younger, and whenever I got to like college and stuff like that, we had that. I'd say when I made it to college was around like the 360 generation when we finally started getting like good home fight sticks and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god, they used to
And
be horrible back in the day. They were so
what'd you
bad.
say?
They used to be so bad. Like I think the first one I tried to order was like one from like Walmart, and it was like it didn't even have all the buttons to like properly play an arcade game. It was so bad. Like in the early thousands, it was so bad to try to get an arcade stick.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, I'd say we still get some pretty bad ones out here now, but they
Yeah.
they've gotten way better. Um, but really, like now that we kind of got like these ones that you can get at home that you can get like actual arcade parts in it, like Sanwas, and you can really open them up and tinker with them. That's where like I started finding like my passion with it is in like I have a arcade one up at my house,
Mm-hmm.
and I hooked it up and I was playing it, and it's fine, it's all right. But the entire time I would be using it, I was like, wow, this stick in this is crap, and the buttons are crap. And I just started looking into what I could do to replace those, and that's where I started seeing like the different brands. Because for the longest time, I mostly just knew Sanwa. Like I didn't know Crown, or like I couldn't tell you really the difference between like that or Sumitsu. I knew Hori from like fighting pads, but not so much like fight sticks.
Yeah, like honestly,
Um,
Hori's all I know. To be fair, like if I don't, I just stick with Hori because I know it's the name brand. You know what I mean?
Hori's good. Like I like for me personally, I'm not a big fan of their actual like the lever and the stick. Like it just feels like kind of weird when I use them, but I really like their buttons. But I know that's not the norm for people. Like I know plenty of people who bought like the Hori Wrap 4 and swapped out the buttons for Sanwas but love the stick. But I'm like the opposite, so
You know, I didn't ask you this. Are you a ball or are you a bat type of person for your stick?
depends on which game I'm playing. If it's like an arcade game, then I actually use a bat top. If it's for a 2D fighting game, then I use a ball. If it's for Tekken or Soul Calibur, then I switch to a bat top again.
Really?
Um,
Like
yeah,
I'm
like
just ball
on
all the way through, man. Like I don't mess around with it at all.
it's just all weird, like because here in America we had the bat top forever.
Hmm.
I don't think I ever really saw like a ball top until like around when Street Fighter 4 came out,
Hmm.
and like we started getting like a lot of the better fight sticks. Um, so like I still have kind of I still think they're comfortable, but just like with Tekken where you're doing like a lot of quick tapping motions, I think the bat top is just more comfortable for that. Um, but like one of the first like mods I did to my stick is there's actually a thing, it's called like the freak stick or the freak mod. I forget what it's called exactly.
Sure.
Um, but what that allows you to do is that it mods into, I think, Hori's and Sanwa sticks, and it replaces the shaft of those sticks with one that's detachable.
Hmm.
So, like, I just bought two of them and I put a bat top on one, a ball top, so when I need to swap them out, it's just a quick thing.
Interesting. You know, I just realized I didn't ask you this before when we did like the pre stuff. Do you have custom art in your stick? Like, do you have like custom art in there, or do you just use whatever's there?
Neither of my sticks actually support custom art right now.
Oh, okay, gotcha, dude. That was like 90% of the reason I wanted to fight stick was to get
That
custom art in there.
that's like a pretty big like selling factor for me on things like and that's something I like because you said it was like the Hori Wrap A, right?
Yes, I have the. It's the pretty much the brand new Hori stick. Like it came out this
And
year.
I think that's one of their selling points is that it's supposed to be really easy to change out that artwork, right?
Yeah, I think it took me like less than 50 minutes to just take all the screws out, take out the old one, put the new one in, and just boom, it's there. Like I use the same custom art I've used for a bunch of stuff. Like I'm using it as my giant mouse pad right now, so I kind of stick with the same thing. But the fact that I can bring it somewhere now, like I brought it to one tournament so far since the pandemic is like kind of wrapping up. You know what I mean? So I've been able to go to one tournament and I was able to bring it, and I didn't even use the damn thing. But it was just nice to be able to show off I had one. And it was, oh guys, look at my custom art. That was part of the reason I liked it. So
Like with mine, like because I have the 8-bit dough one, my Switch games, and that one is just kind of made to look like the old, like the NES stick. I can't even remember what that stick was called, but it was like that weird NES yellowy tan, with black and red on it. And my big one, the Victrix, is actually like it's a solid piece of aluminum that's got like the powder coated paint on it, so it's actually made to be etched.
okay.
And if I could get to an event that Victrix is at, supposedly they'll etch them for free for you.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
since my thing is, I'm not really like a big like Iori player, but like I really like black and purple, so I've been trying to hunt down like concept art of Iori to hand to them so that they can actually like etch a bunch of Iori images on it for me.
Yeah, dude, you should just Fiverr, man. Just jump on Fiverr and literally pay $5 and have someone draw a very rough sketch of Iori for you. That's what most. It's so easy now to get like custom art done. It's crazy.
Like the art isn't so much the issue, it's finding like it's finding a place that'll etch it because like I found a few places that do etching, but the moment I was like, oh, it's for a fight stick, they don't return my phone call.
Oh, really?
Like yeah.
We're out of
um
business. Ooh.
so like I'm kind of hoping with what is it called, like when Evo finally becomes like a sit down event again,
Hope
they
for next
might
year.
go to it
Yeah.
and I would just be able to hand it to them because they have the dimensions, they have everything set up.
Hmm.
So like I would really like to get like Iori over on the right, and then he's got like his big main combo where it's like two punches and then a jump and a slam. I'd like to get each of those like core animations down at the bottom with the inputs etched up above it,
Hmm.
and then his moon around the stick.
Yeah. I may be going to that next year. They actually not official yet, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to Evo next year.
Oh, hit me up then. Like
Yeah.
I'm super close there.
Oh, you
So,
really? Oh, yeah, that's right. You're on the other side of the country. I'm
yeah.
pretty sure I'm going to that next year. Like, and while we're talking about that, because I want to go to Evo next year mainly I'm gonna get bodied. And I'm gonna sign up for a competition, get wrecked. But
Hmm.
I'm more going I just want to be around fighting game community people.
Hmm.
But a bunch of controversy kind of came out over the last couple of years. I wouldn't say controversy, but when it comes to regulations for fight sticks,
Hmm.
what's your opinion on that? Because like you're the fight stick guy, so what do you think? Because you mentioned something to me that I think it was Daigo. Was it Daigo that did it? Made like his
Yeah.
own hitbox or what? What's the whole? Give me the examples of what that was all about. Because I'm clueless on it.
So I don't know all the exact details on his stick. Like I've seen it, and it was like a very like jerry-rigged. Like I'm pretty sure like he took like the PCB from like a Quamba drone and like took a box and duct taped it all together too. Like it was a very rough looking stick. But the big core that I saw for it is that it had a bunch of extra buttons. Like I think it was like he had an additional like a left and a right button on it, and I think he had an additional like heavy punch or something. Like he had a couple of like just extra buttons on it so that he could do like double inputs and things like that. And that kind of caused the controversy because whenever they looked at sticks, internally everything checked out on his stuff.
Mm-hmm. It's see, that's crazy to me. They have it's your that's clearly an advantage. You know what I mean? Like in the Smash community, as an example, like certain wave birds weren't even allowed at tournaments. You know what I mean? Because like it was too much of a headache because they use batteries. Like, and it's crazy to me that you're not allowing. Like he pretty much made like this Frankenstein monster. They're like, we don't know. Like that's so bonkers. How did they do? I think it's because he's just Daigo. I think that's why they just let.
I think that's a good chunk of it. Like it's him now. His stick was banned. Like if I remember right for it, so they didn't allow him to use it. I have like very mixed feelings with Daigo and like his stick in that for like movements and stuff like that. I don't really think he broke any real rules. Like I know he had the additional inputs, but like if you're playing Street Fighter 5, that's something you can do on a base controller. Like the game allows you to put multiple inputs using both the D-pad and the joystick. So in that case on his hitbox, I don't really have a problem with those inputs. Like if it's something the game in itself allows and it can't be banned because you can't ban a stock controller, then I don't have an issue with it. Now having the extra like punches or the extra, you know, if it was like an extra kick, I kind of have an issue unless the game he's playing allows you to map like multiple heavy kicks. Like if you were to be able to reprogram like heavy kick to be on both R2 and L2 and he just has, you know, an additional L2 on it, then I'm kind of mixed. Like I can see certain advantages of it, but
well, a hitbox, I know a hitbox already has a million extra buttons on there, right? Like if I look at a hitbox right now, I'm already confused, right? I want one. Don't get me wrong. Like having a hitbox sounds awesome because I would love to play like a lot of 2D fighters with it, but I already can see a lot of issues coming forward when it comes to regulations. Like I feel like I know a lot of people would hate this, but do you think there should be almost like rules like these are the sticks that are going to be allowed, no mods allowed to them? Do you think modding should even be allowed? Because
personally, here's the thing. I don't necessarily have an issue with that. I just worry about like them essentially coming out with like because we already have with Razer with their Evo branded stick.
Yes.
To me, it kind of starts affecting like sales. Like all of a sudden, if like Evo says no, you can only have like the Victrix Pro or the Hori Fighting Edge A or whatever, you know, whatever it is, or the Quanba drone or the Quanba Obsidian, to me that's just going to suddenly make those sticks really hard to find. And then they're already like the Quanba sticks, just because they're PS5 compatible, are skyrocketing on the secondary market right now.
Really?
Yeah, like you can still get them, like they're out of stock anywhere, but if you want to buy one on like eBay, you're looking $100 to $200 more expensive if you want just like a base Quamba drone. Or I'm sorry, well, even the drones, like I think those retail for $75, but I'm seeing them listed on Amazon and eBay for over 100.
Oh my god. Like I think my Hori cost me like almost 200 when I bought mine. And
I think that's the base cost.
Yeah, it was like pre-ordered it too. I got it. It was like I bought it in like I want to say January. It wasn't out until like February, like April. They ordered it crazy ahead of time because I knew I would eventually get the newest one, and it was like from the way I was reading it, it seemed like it was the best hands-on or best like beginner one. So that's why I went with it. I didn't realize there was like a back order on all fight sticks right now. That's crazy.
Well, it's mostly just ones that are compatible on like the PlayStation 5, which for the most part, until I'd say Guilty Gear came out, I don't think there was much like hunting for a PS5 compatible fight stick. And then Guilty Gear came out, and we finally have a fighting game that's on the next generation. Other than, yeah, I think that's it. I guess
the only games that have come out on the new generations were, I guess you can kind of consider Grand Blue, because like it did. You can. A lot of people's introduction was through there. But Guilty Gear is the main system right now, main game for fighting games. Melty Blood will be next, and I guess you can consider KOF 15, which we'll get into in a second, because we got to talk about how my girl hasn't been added yet. But yeah, there's only been Guilty Gear is the first gen fighting game. Like we got nothing. And I guess I think, because I don't know how Street Fighter considers it. They may be considering the new Champion Edition with the new DLC characters a different version of Street Fighter. That might be
Oh, did
something.
they announce that? Like, I
I
didn't
don't
even know.
know. I guess
Uh,
the Power Rangers game, I guess, would be considered part of that too, because like the Power Rangers game has their special edition now. So
mm-hmm.
I guess that would be compared. But Guilty Gear clearly is the most popular fighting game, at
Yeah.
least that's been out in the last, honestly, year. Its
Mm-hmm.
only comparison or competition is Grand Blue, sadly. So, and
Mm-hmm.
Grand Blue had a whole bunch of other issues go on. So, yeah, that poor game didn't stand a chance. But yeah, so what were we saying here? We were talking about what fight sticks and regulations. So,
Mm-hmm.
was that your piece on it, or?
Basically, like, so, like, I know, like, going back to the stuff with like Daigo and all that, like, I'm pretty sure he was also the one that said like one of the reasons he switched to using a hitbox when that became a thing was just because he was starting to get bored playing with fighting games. Like, he basically got to the point, oh, I'm so good that I find just playing them with a stick now to be boring. And it's a completely different, play style. I've only had like hands on a little bit, and it was with someone's like home built hitbox style controller.
Mhm.
And they're interesting. Like, I do want one. It's just I keep encountering situations where when I have the money for one, no place has stock. And when they have stock, I'm broke or they immediately sell out.
Yeah. Like I
Um,
want one too. Like that's gonna be on like a Christmas wish list this year.
I'm gonna have to talk to you because you like grapplers, and I can't imagine trying to do a circle input on a or a circle motion
Yeah,
using a hitbox.
I am the master of pocket grapplers. Grapplers will never be my actual main, but they will always have
Mhm.
a small place in my heart. Um, all right, well, cool. I'm very. You and me will both be on the hunt, getting ourselves a hitbox. I guess
Mhm.
that's gonna be the next thing. So let's go back to TikTok for a second. So why did
Mhm.
you choose TikTok as a platform?
Well, I had done other stuff on YouTube before, like I did like a podcast and just general gaming stuff for it, and I'd been on like just TikTok just as someone that was viewing stuff, and slowly I think like I caught someone's like clip of like a Maximilian stream or something like that. And you know how like TikTok slowly starts like, oh, you spent time actually watching this, so we're gonna start,
Mm-hmm.
recommending more videos and more videos and more videos. So as I started seeing more, I basically like I just started, it just kind of started like clicking a little bit, and I started like actively seeking out more content on that. And that's how I found your channel. And as I was going through looking for other ones, like I saw people that would talk about like fighting game news, and I saw like some like instructional videos where it was like talking about like how to do inputs or something like that. But I didn't really see any like videos that would do like teardowns or uh like buying recommendations or something. And essentially I just saw like, I guess, an opening for me. I guess that would work.
Mm-hmm.
Um because like there's people on YouTube that can spend 45, 50 minutes, an hour talking about oh, the difference between like this button and this button and this button, or this is how you like tear down a stick, or this is how you like replace a spring or something like that, or here's the type of springs. Spend 45 minutes, an hour talking about that. But you know, I wanted to see, like, almost like as a challenge to myself, to see if I could get viable, useful information out like quickly and answer what, any questions that I can come up with as I'm doing them within like a 3 minute time span.
Yeah, for sure. Um, did you do the first minute at the first? Like, were you just doing like minute ones, and then I'm pretty sure you did shorter ones than when I first started watching
Yeah,
your
because I
videos.
think you have to like upload a certain amount of videos before they even let you touch a 3 minute one.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Um,
I just remember
so
one day
yeah,
I got a notification saying, "Yeah, congratulations, go do 3 minute videos," and I didn't do one for like 3 months. I was like, "That sounds like a horrible idea. Like, no one's gonna watch 3 minutes of me." And eventually, I found out, oh, they do want more of me. Okay.
that that was kind of like when it was for me. It was because I did like bat top versus ball top, and I think that was like 5 parts.
Yeah.
Um, and the moment they're like, "Oh, you can do 3 minutes," I was like, "Oh, great! I don't have to break something simple down into like a 45-second or a minute long video." And then it just kind of force me to be like, oh, now I hate multi-part videos, especially since you can fast forward through a 3-minute video.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Oh, it's the best
it,
thing ever.
it became like a challenge for me just to say, okay, now can I get everything viable within 3 minutes?
Mm-hmm. Dude, I love that because I think you're the only person on TikTok talking about it too. Like you're the only person that's really going over the stuff when it comes to like hitboxes or not hitboxes, but arcade sticks and stuff. Like it's so nice. Like when you find a niche that works for you, it's just great. And I one of the most common questions I get is because they see me every now and then in my videos hold it using my hitbox as like a prop, and they're like, "What do I do?" I'm like, "Oh, great, just go talk to Retro. Like go follow him. He's the guy to talk to. I don't know. Like I'm asking him the questions to answer because it's more like." The part of the reason I got it one was because like I want to start using it for certain fighters again, but there is it's a certain it's a benchmark, I guess you'd say, for a lot of people in the FGC getting a fight stick. You know what I mean? And it's nice that you are like trying to like throw all of these people at you so you can be the person that they go to like get them into the fighting game community in that aspect. It's a nice little cool thing. Like hopefully we can do this in other aspects too. I'm like, I don't know anything about anime games. Go talk to this person. Like we need that. That's the next person I need. If you're listening to this podcast, go become the anime FGC guy because I don't know what to do. I'm clueless. When Melty Blood comes out, I'm gonna be banging my head against the wall because I'm like, I don't know what to talk about.
You know, I played Killer Instinct back in the day, like on like the Super Nintendo and in the arcades at like my local movie theater. And I kind of had like a really bad run of like consoles on the 360. Like I burned through like 4 of them because of like red rings.
Yeah,
And
those
I
are
kind of
rough.
swore them off. So I never really played like the new Killer Instinct until like a couple of years ago. And I had a lot of fun with that, but I have zero understanding of how to play that game.
Really?
And yeah,
It's
like
just Street Fighter.
see, I feel like you're mocking me because I'm like the one person on TikTok who openly hates on Street Fighter.
I
Like,
don't think we're gonna get into that, but like it's essentially like I always saw KI as the Americanized Street Fighter. Does that make sense?
hmm
That's just how I've always looked at it.
hmm
It's like the middle ground of Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter. That's what I always kind of saw KI as. But
hmm
because KI on the Super Nintendo, like that was one of my all-time favorite fighting games. Like I put more hours into that game. I knew how to get into pretty much every ultimate with every character. I knew how to do everything. I could do bare minimum every single like ultra combo without a question. I knew everything. And then the new game came out and I just wasn't feeling it. I know if Maximilian here is just he'll fucking stab me. But like I just didn't like the new KI that much. I just didn't. Like
hmm
I like the fact that we have another KI. Absolutely. I would love another one. But this new KI didn't grab me the same way either. So I'll be the first one on board. Don't get me wrong. I'll play KI right now if someone wants to message me and wants to play. Like it's free, man. Like
So was it always free? Like, was that always its intention, or did it become free? Like, that's where I was always a little unclear
okay,
on.
so if I'm correct, like I've been going through this because I have Game Pass for Xbox, right?
hmm
So to me, all of it was free to begin with. But I'm pretty sure the way it worked is Jago was free, and then
hmm
I think you could buy the characters or have a rotating, like I think it was rotating where it was a new character every. It was one of those
hmm
kind of free. It was the first free to play model they tried, right? And if you wanted to buy just one other character, it was at a reduced price. I don't remember the exact price. It's like $4.99. So if you wanted to play
hmm
you got Jago automatically. But if you see a character coming out and like, you know what, this Golem dude they just added looks really cool, I'm gonna drop $5, or you can just do the whole season pass thing they were doing. It was very, it was the beginning of honestly what DLC currently is, and that's a whole.
hmm
Other, you actually asked me a question yesterday, I think it was about buying characters in game. I'm
hmm
gonna save that for a TikTok, but that the model we have now is kind of it's not a good thing for the fighting game community. I don't like what they're doing with DLC. I like it in the terms of it helps for long term. It allows these games to have a longer life, but it's not good. It's gonna when we get our first real free to play game through the League of Legends fighting game,
hmm
it's gonna be bad. I can see people
I'm
going.
really curious to see how that actually goes.
I can't see any way it's gonna go well when it comes to money. There's no way. I will
As long as it's not as bad as it's either DOA 5 or 6. Because I know
6.
5 you could get for free.
Yep. Well, both of them are
And
free. DOA 6 is one of the most disgusting money grabs like I've ever seen in my life. It's not worth buying. That's what I'm gonna say. You're better off going to play 5. That's why
see, like,
it's
I
just disgusting.
6, and even then, like, when I was going through it, I was like, the DLC is so bad. Like, I bought Mai and I bought Kula, and
Mm-hmm.
then I think that was the only extra like DLC that I paid for in it, because it's like it's so much just costumes and like I don't think they have a ton of characters, but it's just so much like I'm gonna screw up this word, surplus.
So what? These broke out
uh
there.
yeah, surplus. I can't even say the word right now.
A lot.
Surplus. Yeah, there's a lot of
There's a lot.
there's a lot of
Access.
just yeah, there's just like a lot of just stuff for it, and it's like it's season pass on top of season pass on top of season pass. I think 6, if you bought everything, it's like $1,000.
Okay, so
um
you may have watched my video on that. It's not $1,000. That was actually something
okay.
that's being over paid. With every single thing at the first day of launch, like how things are eventually go on
Hmm.
sale and stuff, it is a lot of money. I think it is over $400 though. I think I sat down one day and tried to figure it out through looking just at Steam, right?
Hmm.
With every single costume upgrade, and that's of course also not including whatever system you're playing on for like the online service and all that other stuff, the system you're buying on, all that other stuff. You're definitely looking over $400 for DOA.
Hmm.
Brawlhalla itself is over 3. You know what I mean? If you bought every
Jesus.
single skin and all that kind of stuff, I make the joke that Smash Brothers is one of the few that is over $1,000 if you go buy every amiibo. So
Hmm.
it's they're one of the few that actually could technically do 1,000. But yeah, it's an interesting take on where the future is of fighting games. But let's go back about what are some of your favorite fighting games? Like this, I am the fighting game guy. Your logo is literally Terry Bogard. So let's. What are some of your favorite fighting games, Retro?
It's a lot of SNK stuff. So, Garo is, right up there with it. KOF. I don't love every KOF game, but like I do really enjoy like KOF 11, um, 13, 14. I think is a good like starting point for a lot of people, but it's not like my favorite one in it. I mostly play it because 15 is coming out and it's building off of it.
Sure.
Um, but I really like KOF 2002. I think it's Ultramax or something like that. Um, like I like that series. Samurai Showdown is kind of up there with it. I don't play it a ton, but it is a game that like I've enjoyed every time I've sat down and played it.
That's actually one of
Uh,
the ones I really like. Like out of if I had to pick a KO an SNK series I liked, actually there's two. One is I'm a huge fan of the new Samurai Showdown. Love the
mhm,
new Samurai Showdown. I think it's the graphics that I really like.
mhm,
I think I play Charlotte, and but
mhm,
when they added, I think it was the Warden from For Honor. I was like, that
mhm,
is so cool. I was so happy that like For Honor in my eyes is considered part of the FGC. Like it's
mhm,
a different branch of the FGC, of course, but like to me that's so respectful to like put that into a fighting game. So I love that. And SNK Heroines. That was way more fun than I thought it was gonna be. But yeah, I have 14 too. We talked about it a little bit. I didn't put that much
mhm,
time into it, but I did have a lot of fun playing it with the
mhm,
few friends that played with me for like the week I had it, and then it was
mhm.
like, yeah, we're not done playing that anymore. I'm like, no, I was just getting good at it. So,
Well, like to me, what kind of helps with a lot of like newer ones is like we're finally getting like rollback being implemented into like older games or into like newer like KOF 15 confirmed that we have rollback in it now.
oh, that's huge,
Um,
so huge.
because that's kind of what killed Samurai Showdown for me is I really enjoyed playing it, but it was awful to play online.
Yeah, it was great to
And
play in like LAN. Like I had a few
yeah,
people that came over and played. It was super fun because you play super defensively in Samurai Showdown, which is
hmm
not a quality a lot of people like in fighting games because you have to like play defensively and not just run up and like throw yourself at them. But Yeah, I agree 100%. LAN is definitely a way to go for those kind of games.
Yeah, like it helps like, and I have like an arcade that I go to, and there is like a fighting game night. I'm just usually busy on their actual fighting game night.
Hmm.
Um but I I I really feel like, online is kind of the way to go with it. And eventually like rollback, I really think that's going to be the selling point. Like you can have like if Street Fighter 6 came out and it doesn't have rollback in it. I'm not going to say it's going to die because I feel like Street Fighter 6 could literally be released in an unfinished state like 5 and it would still be successful.
Really?
Yeah, like I think it has enough name recognition that there's people who don't play fighting games that know Street Fighter.
Hmm.
Like I think it would take a lot for them to damage the brand enough that people would go, I don't know if I want to even give this one a shot. Like, I know there's enough like hardcore fans that day one would buy it, even if they know it didn't have like rollback. And like, I feel like even if they said like, okay, you're gonna get like 5 characters in it, and we'll like drip feed you the rest, like the next like 10 for free, and we'll eventually give you like I feel like they could release it without a versus mode. Like, did Street Fighter V launch without versus? I can't
I don't.
remember.
I just know I didn't
Like,
buy it at launch. I can tell you. I'm not even sad to admit this. Like I saw what was happening, and I'm like, nope,
hmm
not happening. I'm trying to remember. There was another fighting game I was into. I think I was still playing Tekken 6. No,
hmm
I don't remember what it was. I just remember that I was like, I am not gonna do this. Nope. Like I saw the roster. I'm like, this is pathetic. It
hmm
was absolute pathetic that they try to give us the fighting game. All right, like
hmm
Street Fighter is supposed to be like, hi, I'm Mr. Fighting Game. That was the biggest blunder I think I've ever seen outside of Street Fighter versus Tekken, which that's a whole other story. But the Street Fighter, like man, Capcom has had a rough decade when it comes to fighting
hmm
games. Like from Street Fighter 4 to Street Fighter versus Tekken, Marvel versus Capcom Infinite, all the way up to what we're playing right now in Street Fighter 5. And don't get me wrong, they've fixed a lot of mistakes in Street Fighter 5, but man, did they really drop the ball. Like there's no nice way to
hmm
say it. They just really, really, really dropped the ball. And
Well, how long has Street Fighter V been out? It's been out what, 5 or 6 years or longer? Like,
I
it's been
think it
out for a while, hasn't it?
I think it came to arcades in 20. Is it 2015? No, it can't be 7 years already. Yeah, it might be 7 years. I don't have the exact date. I want to say because releases in Japan first, and we don't
hmm
really know exactly when that is. I guess you can kind of know when it is if you Google it.
hmm
I'm sure there's somewhere you can do it, but I don't know the exact wording. But I know that goes to arcades first, and eventually gets released in Japan first, and then to everywhere else. So I don't know exactly when it is, but it has been at least 5 years. Like I know Street Fighter 5, but I know it's been at least 5 years because Tekken was 2008. 2018 was when it was released, I believe, on um, other systems. So Tekken came out after Street Fighter 5. So it's been at least 5 years, at least,
hmm
because Street Fighter 5 came out before Tekken 7. But anyways, back to your thing there about games that you played. I completely took over the conversation there for me because I wanted to talk about Samurai Showdown. But yeah, so you're SNK guy.
hmm
You haven't mentioned anything outside of SNK so far.
Um, I mean, like I played Tekken 3 a lot. Like I think everybody basically played Tekken 3 at some point. Like if you were if you were basically around in the 90s, you played Tekken 3, and I played that one all the way up to Tekken 5 or 6, and then I basically almost dropped out of college due to playing it too much, and then I took like a 10-year hiatus, so I've only just now sat down to try 7. Um,
Bit of a difference, I bet you've noticed, compared to Tekken 3 to Tekken 7. Probably a big
oh
difference
yeah.
there. Who was your main in Tekken 3, if you don't mind me asking? Or did you have one? Because I
Um,
feel like everyone kind of like messed around with everybody.
I really liked making sure I pronounce his name right.
War Ring.
Is it Harawang? Harawang?
Dude, I don't think I don't think Harada knows how to say his name correctly. Like,
But I liked
He was the Korean guy with red hair.
mhm.
Yeah, I know exactly.
I
Yeah.
liked him, and I liked I think his name was Lee, or he went by Violet in a couple of games.
Oh, Lee. Yes.
Yeah.
He. Dude, I always forget he's even in some of these games. Because
Well, like here's the thing,
he's
like
like this.
Lee
He's the
is to me, he's like
stepbrother. Yeah. Good.
of yeah, he's like the style character to me. Like Lee is the one that can do like a bunch of really cool stuff, and your opponent will somehow have like more health than whenever you started beating on him.
Hmm.
Like to me, like when I tried playing Seven, his damage output is so low for what you see him actually doing. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, maybe if he's considered good or I just don't know how to play him. I don't know. Um
I do not
but yeah,
know.
those were like my two big ones that I really liked. I mean, and like everybody played Eddie Gordo.
Yeah, well,
So,
I just say this all the time. Like, there are way
mhm,
too many people who haven't touched a fighting game in decades that think
mhm.
they're way better than they are because they played Eddie Gordo. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, there's so many people that have like god complexes because they played Eddie Gordo in Tekken. I swear to God, that's the case. It's hilarious to me because like Eddie Gordo, I think is still actually pretty decent in Tekken 7. I do remember because like they kind of have to now because Tekken's like Eddie's always going to be like that beginner character. But
Well, like Eddie to me, like I know I played him a lot when I was a kid, but if you were to ask me if I knew how I was doing anything Eddie was doing,
I know
I
this: no
couldn't
one
tell you.
touched the
Like,
punch buttons on Eddie Gordo. No one touched. You just like press the two bottom ones like over it, over it, over it, over again.
hmm
Um, and then you get to true ogre, then you get wrecked. So it doesn't.
yeah.
It didn't matter anyways. Well, we're talking about fighting games. You said Tekken. Yeah, you mentioned Killer Instinct earlier. Any newer fighting games? Like you mentioned Guilty Gear. Are you playing Guilty Gear at all? Or
Okay, so this is what's weird with Guilty Gear. I really like Guilty Gear.
sure.
From where I played like Strive. Like I got it at launch and I played it like religiously for about like 2 weeks.
Hmm.
And I was like, ah, well, I got the PS5 version of it, or I had like the PS4 version that I could upgrade to the PS5. And that's when I started hunting down like what sticks were compatible with the PS5. And then I finally got one, and I've yet to really play it with this stick, and I've had it now about 2 months, I think.
Really?
Um, and like it's not that I think it's bad or anything. Like it might just be like the community in my area. It's like everybody played it for like the first month and like heavy with it, and then it just kind of petered off. Like it might, like I said, it could just be my general area. Like I can tell you this: if Venom gets added, I will jump back on the game the day he's in it because he
Really?
was my main in like
Okay.
X2 and like I the first Guilty Gear I ever played was X2, and it was actually at the same movie theater that I played Tekken at,
Hmm.
or Killer Instinct at. And that was one of the few games where like I thought I was like, oh, this looks kind of cool, and I threw my quarters into it and I started playing it. And I got done, and I immediately like got home, got on the computer, and tried to look up if there was like a home version for it. And then like a couple of days later, I went out and bought X2 for the Xbox.
Yeah.
Like that was kind of like my big like aha moment with like a fighting game that just kind of clicked.
Hmm. Oh no, that's a
And
good one to be clicking with.
yeah,
It's a
yeah.
great one to be clicking with. I'm kind of hoping for Justice to get added into. Um,
Mm-hmm.
if Justice gets added, I'll be very, very, very happy. That's like the
Mm-hmm.
one like legacy character I really want to play. I know a lot of people are really like clamoring for Bridget. I just don't understand the fascination with Bridget. I think she's just a weird character, and people like weird characters in Guilty Gear. But
I mean, Guilty Gear's got weird characters for like days.
yeah,
Like,
like Gold Lewis is one of the coolest characters. I will give so much credit because Gold Lewis is just they were trying to like let's just make an American character. Boom, a
yeah,
fat guy who who has a coffin that has aliens in it. Like that's so
he had the
American.
Area 51 coffin in it.
Yeah,
Like that was one of those things. Like I'll say this. Like one of my favorite things I see from like Japanese developers is I love to see them do what you would call like the all American character.
mm-hmm.
Because like you had like Guile, and it's like blonde haired, like big muscular guy with like American flag tattoos on his arms. And then like there's this game that was called Vanquish, where it was like American guy, football star, hurt his leg, joined the army, smokes. That's basically the only thing you need to know about him, and it's like the most Murica character I've ever seen.
America,
Yeah,
America.
like
That's hilarious. Um, Just thinking of Paul Phoenix, that was the first one that came to my mind. But I think
Mm-hmm.
Paul was created to be like almost a parody of Ken. I think that's why they
Mm-hmm.
created Paul from Paul Phoenix and Tekken. But
Mm-hmm.
uh, he has like the same red gi. He has the long yellow hair. Except why does Guile and Paul have like tall top like hair like that? I have never seen
I
an American like that once in my life.
I've I, so for Guile, I would 100% bet it was just meant to be like an anime stylized, like high and tight.
Hmm.
Um,
And Paul's just a parody of
and
it. Well,
I'm
because
guessing like they just think Americans have big
yeah,
hair or something.
is
I don't
Benny
really know. Like if it
Maru?
was a pompadour, it might work a
Yeah.
little bit more, but
Is Benny Maru American? Where's Benny Maru from in
Benny
SNK?
Maru, Benny Maru, Benny Maru.
Benny. He was one of like the first characters introduced in 15.
In KOF,
Is he
the
is he a Japanese character?
I believe he's Japanese, even though he's blonde. Here's the thing. So I hate Benimaru. Like
Oh, really?
I absolutely hate Benimaru. Like, and it's entirely. So since we're talking about, it's entirely based on like his look, and I hate that stupid vertical hair that he has.
Yeah, like
Because when he's not using his power, like his lightning power, his hair stands like straight and straight down.
okay.
Um, and I think he's just much better designed that way. And like when you see him in like endings and his hair is down, I was like, why can't I get a skin where his like hair is down like that? And like in 2000 KOF 2002, he has like a super move that my dyslexic brain. It's not a difficult thing to do, but like my dyslexic brain cannot look at it and not take like a minute to figure out what I'm looking at. Like, do you know like the number pad thing for like fighting game inputs?
Yeah. What do you mean? Actually, no, I don't. What do you mean? I
So
think I
like
know what
when
you're talking
somebody
about.
says like 6p
Oh, then yes,
or
yes,
like
yes, 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 yes. I do know.
so like his input for his super is like 6134.
Okay.
Um so it's like forward, diagonal, forward, back, and then one of the four attack buttons. And just it's not super difficult to do once you know what it is, but when you just like scroll through the character's move list and you see it,
Hmm.
it's like it took my brain like a minute to even recognize what it was that I was looking at, and then it just like made me irrationally kind of angry.
Yeah.
And just I suck with Benamaru. Like I think he's like a really good um
I've gone on record saying that the SNK inputs in King of Fighters are by far the hardest. Like I know there's an argument to be said with like Tekken with because like you need to like you do an input while like you're coming up from a crouch can be confusing, but there's
well, I think Tekken is the also the only fighting game I know of where neutral on your stick is like an input.
yeah like yeah, but I just think like when it comes to demanding. I
Hmm.
just think King of Fighters or the SNK games are far more difficult. It's just because the trials, like I can eventually figure out the combos in Tekken. You know what I mean? I can sit
Hmm.
there and like if I practice, I can figure it out. But I've done the trials in 13.
Hmm.
Those are not fun. Like it's a challenge. Like there's a reason it's called like trials because like I think every fighting game person that thinks they're good at fighting games should at least attempt those and just be like, nah, fam, I'm not doing this.
Have you played 13 on PC at all?
I have not. I played it on the.
So
Tried doing that with an actual controller, by the way, like a PlayStation controller, not a stick, and it was hard.
So the PC version of that has like this weird glitch where like if you do a resolution that's bigger than like the base 1080p,
Hmm.
the game runs at like double speed.
Okay.
And
Oh no.
like I have an ultra wide monitor on my desktop, so I didn't realize that. And it had been so long since I had played like 13 back on like the PlayStation 3 that I'm sitting here, I was like, I don't remember characters moving like this. And I remember trying to do the trials.
Oh
Like just the base trial where you just try to do like three combos one after the other. And I spent like an hour.
yeah, it's
And I'm
brutal,
like,
dude. It's
and
absolutely
it's
brutal.
even harder when it's running at double speed.
Yeah.
And like I just remember trying to look up online. I was like, this can't be right. And that's where I found out that that bug exists. So now I have to play it in like a little tiny like windowed version of it, and I hate that. Like that KOF 13 is one of the games that I really think should get like a not a next gen like remake, but just a re-release because I think the sprites and all that still would hold up now.
Well, 13, I like that was when they still were not. Yeah, 13 was when they still were kind of spritey. Is that the term?
Hmm.
Yeah. Like then 14 they started doing like the 3D esque look, which I really like the 3DS look. I know people said they didn't like 14's graphics. I'm like, I didn't think they were that bad.
I didn't
Like,
think they looked too bad for the characters, but I thought like some of the animations, like Kukri sand stuff, literally just looks like you just put like a cone and then just put a really bad sand texture on it.
yeah,
Um,
but like 13's graphics were like I think the best. I think it's the end. It was the end of that style of gameplay, like the
mhm,
end of that style of graphics. So they went hard, and it was by far one of the best. And also, it's one of the best KOF games, if I'm correct. 13 is
mhm.
always is regarded as one of the best ones, all right?
That's one of like the most common questions I'm asked is like what's the best like KOF to like get into? And it's like if you're looking for like characters like the biggest roster to use, it would be like 2002. But if you're wanting like the most like visually like stunning and like to me still one of the best looking 2D fighting games, 13, and it has a really good story to it. Beginner friendly, I think 14 is like right up there. And if you want like a really good like tag team style 2D fighting game, I would say like 11.
Mm-hmm.
Like part of the thing that I think with KOF that I've always liked is that it kind of reinvents itself every like story arc that they have, because like in the first one you had like the charge system to do your super moves. Then in the Nest Saga they put in the what is it called? I think it was the striker system, and then in Ash Saga it was all pretty much like tag team with the exception of 13. For some reason they took it out in that. And in 14 and in this thing we've got our boost system.
Mm-hmm. I'm very interested in the story, man. Like, maybe you can
Hmm.
help me out here because I've struggled so much with that story. Uh, with 15 coming out, which I'm
Hmm.
assuming you're very excited for, just like I am. Um, I'm very frustrated so far, but I want to talk about today. They introduced, or last night, you and me were talking about Ash Crimson. Uh,
Uh-huh.
I asked you a little bit of the backstory there, and
You asked me what is probably the most common question with Ash though.
yeah, like, well,
Is Ash a boy or a girl?
yeah, I
Like, if
didn't
you
know.
literally Google that, that is the most.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure if you type that into Google, anyone watching this, type "is Ash a" and then into Google, and I guarantee you a boy or a girl will be the top
yeah.
result.
Well, because like I heard the voice, and I'm like, that sounds
Hmm.
like a guy, and visually it looks like a girl. So I was like, oh, interesting. But the I'm more interested in the her trailer because if you see the back of her trailer, the
Hmm.
map you're on is covered in ice, and
Hmm.
we haven't. Kula hasn't been announced yet. And I have yet to see an ice character, so Kula better be at it. So let's talk
Like,
about
I
15 for a
still
second.
personally think Kula's gonna be in it. Like, maximum might be 50-50 if we get Krauser or Whip, but I can't imagine K-Dash being on a team anymore without Kula.
Okay. Wait, has K Dash hasn't been announced yet, right?
No, K-Dash has been shown. Like, he was in the very first trailer we ever got. They, like, flashed him in it, and they confirmed it because they said, like, all heroes returning.
Mm-hmm.
And that's,
That's
like,
good to know.
debatable if you consider Ash to be a hero or not, but
Okay.
that's a completely different thing.
Yeah. I think the big thing is for me is what do you think is gonna happen in this story? Like 15's bringing all the heroes back. Like, what do you think the big story arc's gonna be? Like, what's your theory for 15 going in?
So since KOF kind of goes into like three arcs is usually their storylines, the big reveal that I think is going to happen, at least in this one, is that we're probably going to get Rugal back. Like they showed Orochi coming back and he was kind of destroyed, but we also have Chris and Shermie and other guy, I can never remember his name.
Sure.
They're back. I'm pretty sure, if I'm remembering right, Shermie and other guy killed themselves to give their power to Chris to summon Orochi. So there's a chance Orochi could be back. Verse, I'm pretty sure is going to be back. He was the antagonist of the last game. Rugal, there is like an end quote. If you lose to Rugal, or I'm sorry, if you lose to Verse, that is a end quote from Rugal from back in like KOF 95. So I think he's coming back. I think every major antagonist from the stories are going to be back.
Sure.
Um, Especially since like storyline wise, since Ash is back, his ancestor was the main antagonist of 13. And since since he basically got wiped from time, Ash got wiped from time, Ash is back, so that guy might be back. I really think the big build up is going to be what um is going to be basically just be like all the big bads coming back.
That'd be
And
so cool.
why they're coming back, I don't know. Like, one of the ending quotes is from a Samurai Showdown character, and now we had I can't remember her name, but the priestess from Samurai Showdown was in 14 due to dimension hopping BS, whatever they're going with that. But the main antagonist, I think, of Sam Show 2 was one of the win quotes show up for her with verse.
Hmm.
So I think this might even tie into like a weird like crossover thing kind of with Sam Show, because since they kind of rebooted Sam Show, I think it's a reboot. I didn't pay that much attention to the remake or the newest Samurai Showdown, so I don't know if it's a reboot or a continuation of the old games. Um but I could see like aspects of KOF, since KOF in itself is an alternate universe from all the other SNK games as well, that they're going to do something to either tie in all the other um, SNK games, or they're going to use this as an excuse to literally bring back every dead character, like,
Every.
because like Geese in Fatal Fury is dead. So this could all just be an excuse, and we're finally going to get Garo 2, which I still don't think is ever going to happen, but it could.
Really, dude,
Yeah.
I'm sure you would be happy. I think a lot of people would be happy. Garo, like, we were playing. You obviously, you're people that are watching. We're playing Garo right now. We're not obviously playing right now. This is a pre-recorded
Hmm.
because myself and Retro can't talk and play at the same time. But Garo is regarded as one of the best fighting games. Like, it's renowned as one of the best fighting games. It's not the best, but it's renowned for being so good, and it's kind of an indie title almost. So it'd be nice for a lot of people. Like, and I think with Terry being more popular, especially since he got added into Smash Bros. Like, I think there's like a bit of a bite right now for people wanting to play KOF, and I think this is the
Hmm.
perfect time, especially with 15 just right. What, coming out in 4 months, right? Five
Yeah,
months.
in February.
Yeah, 5 months or from now. So, dude, like, yeah, I'm excited. I'm very excited, and like, I don't know the story, but like, all I want to do is like see all these characters. Dude, I give so much credit to KOF for having 1,000 different characters in their game. Like,
Hmm.
it's almost kind of sad when I go play like a Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat game, and I look at the roster, and I go play like 14. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? Like, why there's such a difference? I don't know the exact number, but it feels like there's 3 people on every single team, and there's like 30 teams. Like, there's something clearly going on. How is KOF able to do this? Like, in Mortal Kombat can't. You know what I mean? It's very interesting. Like, we
Well,
had to
I
pay for
even
Melina
think.
again when like, what's going on, guys? Someone explain this shit to me.
Well, like what you brought up with the characters, honestly, I think that's kind of one of the things that I'd say for fighting game people, it's it's good. But for like a newcomer that, especially one that doesn't play fighting games, like seeing all of them, it's cool, but it's intimidating. And the problem with KOF is that it's a team-based game. So like if you're a beginner, it's not like, oh, I'm just going to choose this one person and focus on them.
Yeah, that
It's like,
was
no, you have to at bare minimum learn to do at least 3 characters.
yeah. Um,
2 and then a throwaway
yeah.
if you're willing to like invest real time into 2 of them,
Yeah.
but
Okay. So let's. We're actually coming up close here on the ending here for
mhm.
time wise. But what is your main in 14, and who do you want in the next game?
Well, main is Terry.
Okay.
Terry, K Dash, and then usually Kula or Maxima.
Oh, you're a Kula
Or
dude too. Oh, I didn't know
yeah.
that. You never said that once to me. I like Kula is my like anchor. She's always my last one. So like,
she's she's kind of, I'd say she's my weakest one out of them, but I can still do pretty good with her.
mhm.
Um, and who would I like to see return? Well, I'd like to see Rugal come back, even though I hate him so much just from early KOF games.
Sure.
I'd like to see him come back just as like a fan. If they continue to do the like the dimension hopping stuff, I wouldn't mind seeing Homamaru from Sam Show
That would be dope.
come into it.
Yeah. Tick-Tock.
He, I would actually, I'd like to see Tizoc come back as Tizoc instead of King of Dinosaurs. Like,
Yeah.
I know they're doing something with him. Like, I
Yeah.
really need to look into it. And really, like, I've just got a lot of questions I want answers to. Like, I really want to know why Vice and Mature are alive because they're dead. And from everything I keep seeing, they're just like hallucinations Iori has that for some reason are real at times and at other times not.
Yeah. No.
Um,
Totally get it.
and like, so like you brought it up to me, you're like, hey, you should start doing like I guess like little lore videos on
You
like
should. I think
SNK
you
and
would kill
KOF
it.
stuff.
No
And
one's talking about KOF. And
I
people are begging me,
I
and I'm just
decided
gonna
to
send them
sit
to
down.
you.
I decided to sit down and try and do that. And like I'm just finding like random stuff like the big one I know of is like you said you liked SNK heroines.
Hmm.
So you remember Miss X?
Yes.
So I, for the longest time, I was like, "Who is this?" I was like, "Is this Iori's sister? Is this whatever?" For so I finally like sat down. I did looking. It's like, no, it's just Iori in a dress.
That's awesome.
Like
That's
it's
so
just
awesome.
it's just Iori in a dress. And like I have the game that Miss X first came out, which is Gal Fighters, and it's like, oh, Miss X hosted an all-female fighting tournament. And Miss X is just Iori. So I was like, so Iori wanted to have an all-female fighting tournament, but also wanted to compete in it. So he just put on a Japanese like long schoolgirl dress and goes by it, and everybody acknowledges that it's it's obviously Iori. And I guess if you finish Miss X's storyline for it, I need to sit down and play this, and you have to fight Miss X at the end. Miss X basically accuses the fake Miss X of being Kyo in a dress. Um,
That's awesome.
which
That's
is just
absolutely
like
awesome.
it's just so dumb. And like the more I look into things, like I pulled up like a character thing. I was like, what's likes and dislikes? So it's like Iori, one of tell me if this makes sense to you. Like according to this, the only thing Iori dislikes is violence.
That's the complete opposite of who Iori is. Like, I guess, like, in his brain, he's not doing violence. I guess that he's a little bit out there to begin with. So, yeah, it doesn't make sense at all. But back then, like, I think there was, it's the same thing. I think there was, like, one, I think it's, like, King. He likes orphans, I think was one. Like, it's
Oh no, like the disliking violence thing is like an ongoing thing with Iori.
really,
Like from like day one to now, that's like one of his few like besides Kyo, which I think it's weird that they don't list Kyo as a dislike because he just wants to murder him,
he's
but
doing a
like
bad job of it. I can tell you.
yeah,
It's failing miserably.
but like yeah, like the King thing was weird. I didn't know about the orphans thing, like King from Tekken.
Yeah, like, dude. Oh, not now. I clearly wasn't talking about King from. That, yeah, that
Right.
would have made no sense. It was King from SNK.
Could you answer one thing for me?
Sure.
Like,
What's
is
up?
King and Armored King, are they two different people or are they the same guy?
They're different people. Well, we actually. I
Okay.
don't think we know about Armor King yet. Original King died that we know of,
Hmm.
and then Original King and Armor King actually work together. I believe. The new King is the protege of the original King and Armor King. I think we still don't know who it is. To be honest, I gotta
And
look that up. I'm
and
not sure who if we
like
know.
10 or 11-year-old me only liked King because I thought he was a dude with a cat or with a jaguar head.
Yeah,
Like I thought it was legitimately a dude with a jaguar head sewed on.
he
Uh,
is he's a luchador like from Mexico and
yeah,
stuff. So and he's actually based off of a real person. Like he's actually based off of an actual character,
really?
a real pastor who used to like wrestle to raise money for his orphans. It's actually a real story. It's actually based off of an actual character. So
That's awesome.
yeah, it's all really cool. But yeah, dude, we've been talking for a full hour already. So
Hmm.
what where first off, where can people find you if they want to check you out?
Mostly you could just find me on TikTok under Retro and Remastered. You'll find my link tree there, which will take you to my Twitter. Like TikTok and Twitter are my two most active. I have a YouTube channel that's basically on hiatus at this point. But everything is pretty much under Retro and Remastered or Retro Remastered.
Good stuff, man. I'm also, you can go just scroll down below, guys, and check all the stuff out in my comments below. You'd be able to find all that stuff there. But Retro, before I get out of here, is there anything you want to tell everybody? Anything else you want to finish up on?
No, not really. I think we pretty much covered it all.
Beautiful. You gave me a bunch of questions, but like the conversation just flowed beautifully today. So that's all that mattered to me.
I mean, if you ever need me on here again, like I'm always willing. So
yeah, for sure, dude. But yeah, we're gonna get out of here. Retro, as always, thank you so much for joining me, man.
Yeah, thank you again for having me on here.
And that's going to do it. Don't forget to go follow Retro on all his social media plats. They'll be down below in my bio. I can't believe I forgot what that was. Also, don't forget, I stream every Sunday and Tuesday on Twitch. Come and hang out with us there. I also have an FGC TikTok on TikTok. Come follow all my sketches there. I have a Patreon now. You're more than welcome to help support the channel and all the fun stuff I have looking towards the future. If you like the video today, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. My name is Phil, and of course, I'll talk to you guys soon.